Okay guys, so before we begin, I want to have some college level math with you guys. So what is a squared minus b squared? Well, you guess it is a minus b times a plus b. Very simple. What about the next one? A cubed minus b cubed. Well, just a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. And you should be able to get these two right because they are two very famous identities. But what about the third one? It looks a bit familiar. You might be surprised by the decimal number exponents over there, but let me tell you, it's actually really simple to do it. So, what we need to do first is to convert the decimal numbers into fractions so that you can handle the exponents much easier. Okay, so we're gonna write it as, we should write it as a to the 5/2 power. This 5/2 is equal to 2.5, and then minus b to the 5/2 power. So what we are doing here is to convert all 2.5 into fractions 5/2. Then the next step we want to do is to extract 5 from the fraction 5/2. Because of laws of indexes, we can also put it out of the parentheses like this, which makes things a lot more easier. Just wait for the next step and I'll explain why. Now, we are left with a or b to the 1/2 in the parentheses. That means we can introduce this fancy, beautiful symbol of the square root. Because 1/2 is exactly just the square root. So a to the 1/2 is just square root of a. And then to the 5th power minus the same thing for b, square root of b to the 5th power. Now this thing, it looks like the 5th degree of this thing we've just done at the beginning of this video. It's just that a is replaced with square root of a and b is replaced with square root of b. But it's the same thing. And you see anything that is common in here for these two questions? Yes, they both begin with a minus b. And so I have a feeling that this one is also going to begin with a minus b, but for a equals square root of a and b equals square root of b, just like this. Then what about this part, the second part of it? Well, we are going to take the next degree, the one that's smaller than the one we found, which is the 4th power, and let's write down the square root of a to the 4th power like this. Yes, and then the next part would be plus, we want to subtract this power by 1 for square root of a. So we'll have square root of a to the 3rd power. But then we want to add 1 to the power of square root of b, which right now we will get square root of b here since it's reached the 1st power. And then the next part, we do the same thing. We subtract 1 for this square root of a's exponent. We have square root of a square times square root of b square. We add 1 to the square root of b. And next step, plus the same thing, square root of a times square root of b to the 3rd power. And finally, we have square root of b to the 4th power like this. Now this looks like a really complicated form, but once we reduced those terms like square root of a to the 4th power, square root of a squared, square root of b squared, square root of b to the 4th power, once we reduce this, it will look a lot simpler. Trust me. So the simplified form is going to be square root of a minus square root of b, and then times this one and this one cancel out. This becomes 2. we have a squared and plus this thing can be put into the terms inside. So we have square root of a cubed times square root of b, and then plus this thing cancel out, this thing cancel out. We have a times b, and then plus square root of a times square root of b cubed. Again, we can put it into that thing. And finally, plus this thing cancel out with the 2 as the power. We have b squared as the final term. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the answer to a to the 2.5 power minus b to the 2.5 power. I hope you learned something new today. And don't forget, thanks for watching.